Nobody told you there was a third retirement account. Not your HR department. Not your parents. Not the guy on your feed explaining compound interest with a whiteboard. The 401k you've heard about. The Roth IRA you've maybe heard about. But there's a third account sitting in your benefits portal right now. One that is mathematically more powerful than both of them for people under 35. And the number of Gen Z workers actually using it correctly is somewhere around 11%. The other 89% are leaving one of the most valuable wealth-building tools in the entire tax code completely untouched. Picture this. Two co-workers, Zara and Jordan, both 24, both earning $52,000 a year at the same company, same salary, same benefits package, same open enrollment email sitting unread in their inbox. Zara spends 45 minutes on a Tuesday night reading through the benefits portal and finds something she's never heard of. Jordan marks the email as read and figures he'll deal with it later. 3 years later, Zara has quietly built a side account with over $9,000 in it that the IRS has never touched and will never touch. Not when she put it in, not while it grows, and not when she takes it out. Jordan has nothing in the equivalent account because he never knew it existed. My name is Cindy, and I spend a genuinely embarrassing amount of time in tax code documents looking for the places where regular people are quietly getting an advantage nobody advertised. If you've heard the words health savings account, but immediately thought that's just for medical stuff and moved on, stay with me, because that assumption is costing you real money every single month. If this is the first time anyone has ever explained this to you properly, hit subscribe right now because the part where the actual numbers get interesting is still ahead. Here's what an HSA actually is before we get into why it functions as a retirement account. An HSA health savings account is an account attached to a specific type of health insurance plan called a high-deductible health plan. Your employer may offer one. If they do, you can contribute pre-tax money into this account, and that money can be used to pay for qualified medical expenses. Most people stop reading there, think, okay, it's basically a medical checking account, and move on. That is exactly the misunderstanding that keeps this account from doing what it's actually capable of. Here's what the fine print actually says, and this is the part that changes everything. You are not required to spend the money in your HSA on medical expenses in the year you contribute it. You can let it sit. You can invest it. You can let it grow for decades. And if you wait until retirement age to spend it, you can use it on anything at all, not just medical costs, and pay only ordinary income tax on it, exactly the same as a traditional 401k. If you use it specifically for medical expenses at any point in your life, you pay zero. Absolutely nothing. It goes in tax-free, grows tax-free, and comes out tax-free for medical costs. No other account in the entire U.S. tax code does all three of those things simultaneously. Not your 401k, not your Roth IRA, nothing. Let that sink in for a second because it's worth saying plainly. Your 401k gives you a tax break going in but taxes you coming out. Your Roth IRA taxes you going in but lets it grow and come out tax-free. The HSA, used correctly, does both. No tax going in because contributions are pre-tax or tax-deductible. No tax on the growth because it compounds inside a tax-sheltered account. And no tax coming out as long as the money goes toward qualified medical expenses, which in retirement covers an enormous range of costs including Medicare premiums, dental, vision, hearing aids, long-term care insurance, and a long list of out-of-pocket expenses you are going to pay anyway. The account is not some obscure tax shelter designed for wealthy people. It was built into the tax code specifically for people with high-deductible health plans, which skews younger, healthier, and working class. It was designed for people exactly like Zara. Most of them just never found out. This is why people who understand the tax code call it the triple tax advantage, and why people who work in wealth management quietly call it the most powerful retirement account most Americans will never use. Here's something else that should change how you think about the order of operations. Most financial advice for young people follows the same sequence. Contribute enough to your 401k to capture the employer match, then max your Roth IRA, then go back and add more to the 401k. That sequence is solid, but the sequence that maximizes your tax efficiency as a young, healthy person looks slightly different. Capture the 401k match first, always, because that's free money and nothing beats it. Then max the HSA before you max the Roth. Why? Because the HSA is the only account that beats the Roth on tax efficiency for medical spending, and healthcare costs in retirement are essentially guaranteed. You are going to spend money on medical care eventually. The only question is whether you spend pre-tax dollars or post-tax dollars doing it. The HSA guarantees you spend pre-tax, grow tax-free, and spend tax-free. The Roth only gets 2 of those 3. Let's run the actual numbers on Zara because this is where it gets real. In 2025, the annual contribution limit for a single-person HSA is $4,150. Zara puts in that full amount every year starting at 24, invests it in a simple index fund inside the account, and leaves it completely untouched. No medical withdrawals. Every time she has a medical expense, she pays out of pocket from her regular checking account and saves the receipt. That detail matters, and we'll come back to it. At a 7% average annual return, by the time Zara reaches 65, she will have contributed roughly $170,000 of her own money across 41 years. The account itself, sitting on 4 decades of completely untaxed compound growth, lands somewhere north of $900,000. Every dollar of that, if used on medical expenses, is completely tax-free. For context, the average American couple spends somewhere between $300,000 and $350,000 on healthcare costs in retirement. Zara has that covered entirely tax-free from one account she started at 24. Jordan has $0 in an equivalent account because he thought it was just for co-pays. Here's where this gets even more interesting for Gen Z specifically, and this is the part almost nobody talks about. Young people in their 20s are statistically the healthiest they will ever be. The whole premise of a high-deductible health plan, which is the plan required to open an HSA, is that you pay lower monthly premiums in exchange for paying more out of pocket if something goes wrong. When you're 24 and healthy, the math on that trade is almost always in your favor. Your monthly premium is lower, your medical expenses are minimal, and every dollar you're not spending on healthcare costs can quietly stack up inside the HSA instead. Run a quick example. Say the traditional low-deductible plan at your company costs $220 a month in employee premiums. The high-deductible plan costs $85. That's a $135 difference every single month, which is $1,620 a year. Put that savings directly into your HSA on top of your regular contributions, and you've just turned the premium discount into an additional investment that compounds tax-free. For a healthy 24-year-old with minimal expected medical costs, the high-deductible plan isn't a sacrifice, it's a transfer. You're moving money that would have gone to an insurance company and sending it to your own tax-advantaged retirement account instead. The people who this plan structure works best for are young and healthy. Gen Z, almost by definition, fits that description perfectly right now. This window does not stay open forever. By the time most people figure out the HSA strategy, they're in their 40s, their health situation has gotten more complicated, and the high-deductible plan feels riskier. The time to start is now, specifically because of your age, specifically because of your health, and specifically because 40 years of compounding is still available to you in a way it simply isn't for someone who figures this out at 42. Now let's talk about the receipt strategy because this is the detail that separates people who understand HSAs from people who really understand HSAs. There is no rule in the tax code that says you have to reimburse yourself from your HSA in the same year you have a medical expense. The rule says you can reimburse yourself for qualified medical expenses. It does not specify when, which means if you pay a $200 urgent care bill out of pocket today and save the receipt, you can reimburse yourself from your HSA for that same expense 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. People who know this trick keep a folder, physical or digital, of every single qualified medical receipt they've ever paid out of pocket and let the HSA grow completely untouched for decades. Then, at retirement, they pull out 30 years' worth of accumulated receipts and reimburse themselves for all of it in one lump sum, completely tax-free, from an account that's been compounding the entire time. It is one of the most underused legal tax strategies available to ordinary Americans, and it works especially well for Gen Z because you have the longest timeline to accumulate both receipts and compound growth simultaneously. Let's go back to Zara and Jordan at 45. Jordan has finally figured out what an HSA is. He opens one, starts contributing, does the math, and feels a specific kind of frustration that doesn't have a clean name. Not because he made a terrible decision, because nobody told him. His HR department sent an email. The email had 14 attachments. Nobody explained that one of those attachments contained a strategy that could have been building $900,000 in his corner since he was 24. He starts doing the calculation of what 21 years of compounding at 7% would have done to $4,100 a year, and the number that comes back is not one he enjoys looking at. He starts anyway, because starting late beats never starting, but the number that could have been is now just a number that never will be. Zara, at 45, checks her HSA balance, sees a number that has been compounding quietly for 21 years, and feels almost nothing. Because this was just a Tuesday night decision she made in her mid-20s and then basically forgot about. That gap between them, the gap that started from one unread email, has now had 2 decades to become enormous. So here's the practical version of what actually doing this looks like, step by step, because the concept is only useful if it turns into an action. But first, one number worth sitting with. Fidelity's annual estimate for healthcare costs in retirement for a single 65-year-old American currently runs somewhere around $157,000 out of pocket, and that number has been climbing every year for over a decade. For a couple, that figure roughly doubles. This is not catastrophic illness money. This is routine retirement healthcare, Medicare premiums, dental work, prescription costs, the ordinary ongoing expenses of getting older in a country where medical care is expensive. Zara's HSA, built quietly from age 24, covers that entire number and then some, completely tax-free, from a single account she funded on a regular salary. Jordan's plan for covering the same costs is to hope his 401k is large enough to absorb them after taxes. It might be, but he's paying taxes on every dollar he pulls out to cover them, while Zara pays none. That difference on $150,000 of medical spending is not a rounding error. First, check whether your employer offers a high-deductible health plan option during open enrollment. Not every employer does, but a significant number do, and most people never look specifically for it. Second, if the option exists, run the math comparing the monthly premium savings on the high-deductible plan against your expected annual medical costs. For most healthy people in their 20s, the premium savings alone come close to covering any realistic out-of-pocket costs, which means the HSA is essentially free money on top of a wash.
Third, once you're enrolled in the qualifying plan, open the HSA itself. Some employers contribute money to it directly as part of your benefits package, which is its own version of free money you may not be collecting. Fourth, invest the contributions instead of leaving them in cash. Most HSA providers offer investment options inside the account, and leaving the money in cash defeats the entire compounding strategy. Fifth, pay your medical expenses out of pocket wherever you can manage it. Save every receipt and leave the HSA untouched. That is the entire system. It is not complicated. It requires one open enrollment decision, one investment selection, and a folder for receipts. The reason it works is not because it's sophisticated. It's because it's invisible to most people, and most people never start it. One honest caveat before the close. The HSA strategy works best for people who are genuinely healthy and can absorb higher out-of-pocket costs in a bad year without financial devastation. If you have a chronic condition, ongoing prescriptions, or regular specialist visits, the high-deductible plan math may not work in your favor, and that's a completely legitimate reason to choose a different plan. The strategy isn't universal. It's specifically powerful for young, healthy people who have the financial cushion to handle a bad year, and the timeline to let decades of compounding do its work. If that describes you right now, there is no better time to start than this year's open enrollment. Because here's the thing that should stick with you after this video. The triple tax advantage isn't a loophole. It's not a trick. It's a feature that Congress deliberately built into the tax code, and your HR department technically disclosed to you inside a 14-attachment email nobody read. The account is available. The rules are real. The math is exactly what it sounds like. The only question is whether you're going to be Zara, who spent 45 minutes on a Tuesday and built $900,000 quietly over 4 decades, or Jordan, who marked the email as read and figured he'd deal with it later. Later has a way of costing a very specific amount of money. In this case, somewhere in the neighborhood of $900,000. The account that makes that number possible has been sitting in your benefits portal this whole time. It will still be sitting there next open enrollment, and the open enrollment after that. The only thing it cannot do is give you back the compounding years you've already spent not using it. If this is the first time someone explained the HSA properly to you, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me whether your employer offers one and whether you've been using it. I genuinely want to know how many people this one video changes.